But first, we need to do some vocabulary. So, those axial bones that we were just talking about, those are the bones that are located down the center or axis of a vertebrate's body. And you can see my 3 arrows there. They're pointing to our skull, our rib cage, and our spine. In our sentence, the axial bones support the human body. Cartilage. Cartilage is strong, elastic tissue that can be found in places like the tip of your nose and the tops of your ears. Our sentence is sharks have a frame made completely of cartilage, and this helps them swim quickly because cartilage is lighter than bone. Cranium, which is another word for the skull, the hard bones that protect the brain and give the head its shape. Igor was always sure to wear a helmet while riding a bike to protect his cranium in case of an accident. Spinal column, which is another word for our backbone, the series of vertebrae that extend from the neck to the tailbone. The spinal column provides necessary protection for the spinal cord. All right, so let's get started with our read aloud. Now today, while I read to you, you need to listen carefully to learn more about the axial bones in the skeletal system. Predict how many bones are in the human body, and then listen carefully to find out the correct number of bones in the human body. Hi everybody, Ricardo here. I've got a new riddle for you. We are a column of bones stacked on top of one another. Collectively, we make up your backbone. We begin with the letter V. What are we? Yes, vertebrae. Today, we're going to talk about the system that gives your body its structure, allowing it to stand on its own. If you've ever seen a building being built, you know that it has a framework that gives the building its shape and keeps it from toppling over. Your body has a similar structure. Who knows what keeps your body from collapsing? That's right, your skeleton. Your skeleton is made of bones. Bones can support a lot of weight, but they did not start out that way. Before you were born, your skeleton began as cartilage, a firm, rubbery tissue like the tough gristle on a piece of meat. Touch the top of your ear. What you feel is cartilage. The top of your ear will always be cartilage, but much of the cartilage in your original skeleton hardened and turned to bone. By the time you were born, you had about 300 bones in your body. An adult has about 206 bones. So where did all the extra bones go? Do bones just disappear? No, they grow and change over time. Many of them join together, like those at the end of your spine called the tailbone, or the bones in your skull. Have you ever heard the saying, hard as rock? Rocks are hard due to the minerals stored inside them. The outside part of your bones become hard by storing minerals too. Minerals enter your body in the food you eat and the vitamins you may take. Calcium, contained in dark leafy greens, broccoli, and the dairy products, such as milk, is one of the most important minerals that make your bones as hard and as strong as rock on the outside. Calcium is also needed to help blood clot or thicken when you accidentally cut yourself. Without it, your blood would be too thin for you to maintain good health. At least until you reach your full height, your bones will continue to grow with you. It's hard to imagine rock-hard bones growing, isn't it? They cannot stretch or bend. So how do bones grow? Well, bones are made up of living tissue. New bone tissue is being made all the time, working to replace worn-out cells and making it possible to heal broken bones. Before you were born, your bones were solid, but many of them have become hollow over time, making them very light, yet still very strong. This is how bones differ from rocks. Rocks are solid all the way through, but bones are porous, meaning that they have many tiny holes through which liquids pass. So take a look here. My arrow is pointing to those porous spots in the bone. Marrow, a jelly-like tissue, fills these cavities of your porous bones. Bone marrow is your body's blood cell factory. It produces blood cells to fight infection and carry oxygen throughout your body. Remember that the circulatory system carries the blood your heart pumps throughout your body. So, the skeletal system and the circulatory system are interconnected. Bones come in many shapes and sizes. Some are long and rod-like with knobby ends. Some are short and look like cubes, whereas others are flat. And some have their own unique shapes. Even though there are many different kinds and sizes of bones, all human skeletons look pretty much the same. Your skeletal bones are designed in specific ways to support and protect every part of your body. There are three groups of bones that form your axial skeleton: the spine, the skull, and the ribs. The bones that support the center of your body are called axial bones. It is also the job of the axial bones to protect the most important organs in your body. You've already learned that taxonomists classify animals in two groups, vertebrates and invertebrates. Who remembers the group in which humans are classified? Right, we are vertebrates. Vertebrates are animals with backbones. Your backbone, or spine, is actually more than one bone. It is a column of many bones stacked on top of one another. Take a look at my arrow here. It's pointing to one of the vertebrae, and they're stacked one on top of the other, and then your spinal column is going through the middle. Bend forward and feel along the middle of your back. Do you remember those little bumps running down your back? As you may have learned in an earlier domain, these are your vertebrae, a series of bones fitted one on top of the other to form the spinal column, or backbone. Cartilage separates each vertebra, filling in the spaces and cushioning them from one another. Each vertebra has a hole in it, allowing the spinal cord, an important pathway for nerves, to pass through it. Your spinal column protects your spinal cord. In addition to providing the main support for your skeleton, your spine is only one part of your axial skeleton. Sit up as straight and as tall as you can. Does the side profile of your body look straight? Probably not. Your spine is curved, looking more like the letter S than the letter I. Can you think of any reasons why it might be better to have a slight curve in your back rather than it being completely straight? If your back was as straight as a board, you wouldn't be able to bend. The shape of your spine allows you much greater flexibility. You've already heard about the fabulous tailbone at the lower end of your spine, so what's at the other end? Use your hand to follow your vertebrae up your back and along your neck to your head. Feel how hard your head is. Who knows the name for the protective group of bones hidden inside your head? Right, your skull. Skull bones sit at the top of your backbone, becoming the second part of your axial skeleton, that group of bones that support the center of your body. Your skull is comprised of a group of bones, 29 in all. Locked together, they protect your brain and some of your body's sensory organs. The top part of your skull, shaped like a bowl surrounding the brain, is called the cranium. 8 thin, curved bones are tightly interlocked to form the smooth cranial helmet beneath your forehead and scalp. When you were born, these 8 bones still had gaps between them, allowing your brain to grow. Because these gaps don't close completely for about 2 years, babies have a soft spot on their head and need to be very carefully handled. The rest of your skull bones are facial bones, or bones in your face. Put your hands over your eyes and touch your closed lids very gently, pushing up slightly towards your eyebrows. The round openings in your skull are called eye sockets. These sockets are deep enough to protect your delicate eyes. Another hole in your skull is just the right size for your nose. Though sometimes it is closed or covered up with teeth, what is the biggest opening in your face? Right, your mouth. Cover your face with your hands and open your mouth wide. Which bone moved? Your jawbone. Your upper jaw is attached to the rest of your skull, but your lower jaw is hinged so that it can move up and down and side to side. Pretty amazing, isn't it? Why do you think it's important for the jaw to be able to move? Does anyone remember the three groups of bones that form the axial skeleton down the center of your body? The spine is one. The skull is another. The third group of axial bones is also connected to your spine. Reach behind you again and feel the bones that stretch across your back, wrapping around to the front of your body. What are these bones called? Right again, your ribs. Ribs are curved bones that form a protective cage called the rib cage around your heart and lungs. Ribs come in pairs. Each rib is attached to a vertebra in the middle of your back, and the sternum or breastbone in the middle of your chest. Feel your chest. Can you count the number of ribs in your rib cage? How many did you count? You have 24 ribs, or 12 pairs in all. I just can't resist sharing a joke with you right now because it fits in so well with what we're learning. What did the rib cage say to the heart? Give up? Got you covered. Your skull and ribs both protect vital organs that you cannot live without. However, your ribs are designed very differently from your skull. Whereas your skull is made of solid interconnected bones without spaces between, there are spaces between each of your ribs. Can anyone guess why it wouldn't work for the rib cage to be one big solid bone? Take a deep breath, as deep as you can. Now, let the air out. What happens to your chest? Do it again and notice how your chest goes in and out with each breath we take. Solid bone around your chest would prevent the diaphragm and lungs from expanding properly with the air you breathe. The shape of the spine combined with the spaces in between each pair of ribs helps the human body structure to be flexible. If you take a look at that arrow I have on that second picture, it shows how flexible our bodies can be sometimes. I'll be back tomorrow to talk more about the skeleton. Today you learned about axial bones, and tomorrow you'll hear a term that relates to another part of your skeletal system and to your arms and legs. I'm looking forward to the next time we meet. I'll be sure to have new riddles. So think back to what we read. Which bones are called your axial bones? Yes, the spine, the skull, and the rib cage. When you were born, you had about 300 bones in your body. What happened to some of those bones? Yes, bones grow and change over time. Many of them join together, like the skull bones and the tailbone. Why is the skeletal system important? Yes, the bones give the human body its structure, allowing it to stand up on its own. It also protects vital organs. So let's talk about one word today. Let's talk about this word structure. And this system gives our body its structure, allowing it to stand on its own. Say this word with me. Structure. A structure is a form or shape, something that is made up of a number of parts arranged together. A house built where earthquakes are common should have a structure that will resist the force of an earthquake. During our read aloud, we heard why it was important for the body to have a strong structure. What are some other things that could not exist without a strong structure? Great job. Don't forget to go into your Canvas page and complete your exit ticket today, and I will see you tomorrow for some more learning and reading about the skeletal system, and we're going to talk about appendicular bones. See you tomorrow.